Hello and welcome to my August wrap-up. I read 15 books in August. I'm pretty content with that. A lot of them were manga, so don't get too excited. I had a great time. I had a great time participating in Magical Readathon. I didn't end up reading all of the books that I planned to, but that's okay. That always happens to me and a lot of people with readathons. I read some great books. I read some shit books, so yeah, let's get into them. So the first book that I read in August was Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is about two people, Connell and Marianne. Connell's mom works for Marianne's family as a cleaning lady, so they know each other from that, but in school, because they go to the same school, they never interact because Marianne is kind of a social outcast. Nobody likes her because she's weird. And we follow them growing up and going to college and stuff like that, and there's obviously a romance aspect to it. Now before I say my thoughts about this, if you like this, great for you. I'm really content that you like this. I hated this. This was a 1 star. It could have been a 0 star, but it was a 1 star because that's the lowest on the scale. This is probably the worst book I will read this year. It's probably one of the worst I've ever read in my life. I hated every single aspect about this book. In this book, I don't know words right now. I hated the characters, I hated the plot, I hated the ending, I hated the time skips. I hate everything about it. This is not for me, basically. The next book that I read in August was an arc from NetGalley called The Love Rematch. I think it's by K. Marie, but if I'm wrong, it's on the screen. And in this, we follow two characters, Emily and Jake. Emily and Jake dated when they were in high school, but something happens and they break up. And Emily is still not over that after a long time when this book takes place. And her mom on national television says that she wants her daughter, Emily, to be the lead in basically The Bachelorette. And when she gets to be in the show, guess who is one of the producers in the show? Jake. I ended up giving this a 3.5. It was cute, but I had some I didn't love it. The plot was fun at first, but I felt like the main point of the story, which is the Bachelorette show, was very irrelevant. I don't remember a single contestant in the thing, except for one. It's just, I don't know, it felt a little bit irrelevant to me. So because of that, I ended up getting a little bit bored halfway through, but it was still enjoyable. There were a couple of plot twists at the end of the book, and I thought they were meh. One of them actually did surprise me, the other one not so much, but one of them just, I felt like was added just to be like a shock factor and just kind of unnecessary. I don't know. And the romance was cute, but it was very frustrating because the whole book is basically a miscommunication the whole time. So if you don't like that, maybe don't read this. It is part of a series, so maybe one day, maybe not, I will continue with it, but I don't know. Next, I read 3 volumes that are out, I think, of a manga series called, in English, I think is I'm Destined to Be With You, or The Love I'm Destined to Be With. Something like that. I'm not going to try and pronounce the Japanese version because I'm going to butcher it. We follow a girl that really wants to fall in love with someone, so her friend takes her to a bar and meets the main guy of this series, and they end up becoming friends, and he tries to help her find someone. I really liked this. I gave the first and third volumes 4.5 and the second volume a 2 because of reasons. I really loved it. It's really cute. I love the 2 main characters. I've obviously forgotten the names because there's too much going on in my head. It's just really cute and I really like it, and I'm excited to continue whenever the next volume is fully out. Which I don't know when that is. Next, I finally finished Spinning Silver, which I've been reading for a month. This is about a bunch of characters, so hopefully I can get their story straight. We follow Miriam, who is the daughter of a moneylender, and her dad is really bad at it. So she ends up taking up his role and making so much money that she gets like a reputation that gets back to the scarce, which are, I think I'm pronouncing that right, which are like these weird ice people. They are made of ice that kill and rob people of gold. And so the Starix starts bringing her money to turn from silver into gold, because this is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. At the same time, we also follow Irina, which is the daughter of like a lord, and she gets betrothed to the Tsar of this kingdom, country, I don't know. But the Tsar is not a good person, so we follow her and Miriam and a bunch of other characters. So for those who don't know, I have read books from Naomi Novik before. I've read one, Uprooted, which I did not like because the ending was horrible, in my opinion. So since I already had this book, I thought I might give it a shot. Maybe I'll like it this time. I did not. I gave it a 2-star. I don't know if Naomi Novik is for me. I still have A Deadly Education, so that's on me because I bought it recently, but we'll see if the third time is the charm. I highly doubt it. The plot is the only thing that is mediocrely interesting about this. At first, I really was enjoying it. It was interesting. I really liked comparing Rumpelstiltskin from like what I know to this story, and it's really interesting the way that it was retold. But after a while, it just got boring to me. There are a million characters, all with their own POVs, which is super confusing, by the way, because there's no title saying who is speaking. And I didn't care about half of them. I cared about the 2 characters that I already said. Mostly Miriam, but also Irina. The romances don't make sense to me. They feel more Stockholm Syndrome-y than loving, and probably a trend with Naomi Novik books for me. I hated the ending. Did not make sense, did not like it. So, yep, another shit book to my pile. The next book is a book that I DNF'd, and it is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, or Tolkien. I still don't know. This was just not my kind of book. I got very bored very quickly. I fell asleep at least once reading this in the middle of the day. So that says a lot. It just was not my favorite, so I gave up because I don't have time to be spent on books that I don't like. That's how much I read. It was 64 pages. The next 6 books that I read were all of the volumes of Watakoi by Fujita. I love this so much. If you've never heard of Watakoi, it is an office romance of these 2 people. They are gamers, which is not very respected in Japan, at least in this book. I don't know for real. Our main female character, Narumi, she doesn't want anyone to know that she is a gamer, or otaku. So she one day is ranting to her gamer friend, Hirotaka, that it's really hard to date as a gamer. So they end up dating. And that's this book. I gave them all 5 stars, if you hadn't realized. I love them. I love all the characters. I love all 3 plot lines because we follow these 2 characters, their romance, these 2 characters, which are their co-workers and friends, and these 2 characters, which is Hirotaka's brother. Next, I DNF'd another book, which is The First Girl Child by Amy Harmon. I don't know how to explain this. I don't understand the plot, even though I read half of this. But from what I read, we follow a man who basically lives in a temple. I don't remember the correct terms of this book, so excuse me. And his sister gives birth to a bastard child of one of the clans in this kingdom. So in this temple, the guy takes care of that child. When the woman gave birth, she died and put a curse on the whole kingdom that nobody was gonna have a female child or a girl child. Hello. We just follow that child and the first female child, which is the king's daughter. I don't know the rest because I didn't read. It just wasn't for me. I don't like this kind of book. It reminds me of the Pillars of Earth or whatever, that book series I read the prequel, which was The Evening and the Morning. Kind of like that. Not as bad as Game of Thrones, but same vibe as well. I don't like books like this. I don't know if this is historical fiction that I'm thinking of. I don't know, because it's fantasy, so I don't really know. It is based on Norse mythology, so I don't know. I just know that I did not like it, and I read 170 pages. So I did give it a fair shot, but I didn't like it. And the last 3 books that I read were the first 3 volumes of Yona of the Dawn, because the anime left off in a place that didn't leave me satisfied, so I want to read it. And I am reading it. If you've never heard of Yona of the Dawn, it is about this girl who is a princess of a kingdom, and her dad is murdered by her crush. So she runs away with her bodyguard, which is called Hack, and they end up trying to find the 4 dragons. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but there are 4 dragons that are supposed to be like in servitude of the red dragon, which is Yona. So they go and search for the 4 dragons so that they can defeat the crush that took the throne. So the first 3 volumes, I gave them 3 stars, mostly because I've already seen the anime and it's the exact same, and I don't know, it just feels like a 3. I do really like it right now, future-wise. It's gotten more further into the story, and a few characters that I really like are in the story, so. But the first 3 volumes are great. Even though I gave them a 3, that's still good. I really like the story, and I'm excited to read more of Huck, because he's my favorite character. One of them. But those are all the books that I read in August. My hand is looking a bit weird. I read some pretty terrible books. I read my favorite anime's manga series. So yeah. And I also completed Magical Readathon, so I'm pretty content. I got through a bunch of my physical TBR, even though it's manga. It counts. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next weird video. Bye!